Late start. Anyway, this is the cutting edge. We're supposed to have an interview. We had the interview ready. Good
Hello?
night. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, is this Roland?
Yes, it's Roland Muta. Yes, it's Roland.
Good afternoon. Good night again.
Good night.
Good night. All right. So, you use the formula of the Windrush compensation scheme?
No, I'm not the founder. The Windrush compensation scheme was established by the British government, the UK government.
Okay. All right. So what is the compensation scheme all about? What it deal with?
Well, between 1948 and 1989, many Caribbean people, but not just people from the Caribbean, across the Commonwealth, traveled to the UK. And those group of people from 48 to 89, classed as the Windrush generation.
Yeah, we call them the banana boat people. Them.
Well, not necessarily. The first ship, one of the first ship that went up that was a ship called Windrush. That ship was an ex-troop fighter battleship that was seized by the British from the Germans in the Second World War, and they renamed it Windrush.
Windrush, yeah.
Yes, and Windrush is actually a river in England, part of England. So they named the ship after a river in England.
Okay. So
those group of people.
Okay.
Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Now, I was going to ask you what the scheme is about. When them say compensation scheme.
Right. Why the scheme was launched? Those group of people were targeted. They were targeted by the British government. At the time, there were utterances from within the House of Commons stating that there were too many black and brown people that were entering the UK, and they need to find a way to reduce the number.
Yeah.
The numbers. So there came the legislation, there came the laws that target those from the black Commonwealth, so to speak. One of the things that was said in Muta is that if you've got parent or grandparent from England, then the laws should not target you, should not affect you, so to speak. So that means Muta, in a sense, is that if you're white, if from the so-called white Commonwealth, if you're Canadian, Australian, New Zealand, and the so-called South Africans, these laws will not impact you. Laws came out 68 and 73 primarily. So those laws disproportionately impacted those from the black Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Move forward. 2018, 2019, prior to that, there were a number of parliamentarians like Diana, but David Lammy, etc., say that these laws will impact those that have right to be in the UK. So in 2018, 2019, they launched the compensation scheme after there were a number of reports came out showing that there are people that had a right to be in the UK were being deported. Even some of those people you saw a few years ago that were being deported. In many cases, those individuals should not have been deported.
So like Trump had to Trump now, where Trump...
Right.
No,
Very much on point, Muta. This is what Trump is doing right now, where individuals that even if they were born in USA will not have the right to American citizenship. The Windrush generation and their descendants, well, it's primarily their descendants, went through that Muta. They'll find someone, say, born 1989, right? 89, etc. They got to early 2000, they want a passport to go on holiday, right? And they were told, go get a Nigerian passport, go get a Jamaican passport, because despite the fact that the parents entered the UK 68, 67, right? And they had indefinite leave to remain from then right up to when this child was born in 89. This child now, in the early 20s, were being told that they can't get a British passport because the parents... You go ahead, Muta.
No, I'm not here. No, I'm just going to say what you're going to say. So,
because the parents did that naturalize. They find those people who came in the 60s and 70s was living on the indefinite leave, still using the Jamaican passport, the Barbadian and Nigerian passport, etc., because they saw no need to go and get a British passport. But that side that is born from said individual that were living on the so-called CUK passport, or the old Jamaican or Nigerian passport, etc., etc., their children had problems getting a British passport, couldn't get jobs, couldn't get access to the National Health Service, and in many cases they may have traveled outside the UK when they go and get this Jamaican passport or the Nigerian passport because they couldn't get a British passport, had problems re-entering UK.
Coming back, yeah.
So that is what one thing. But to give a better understanding of the landscape, so to speak, Muta, I'm just going to give you an indication. I'll go to the eligibility criteria of those individuals that are eligible to apply to the scheme. And there's eligibility and there's entitlement. But I'll go to eligibility because eligibility basically is who is allowed to apply to the scheme. Who are these people that the scheme is for? Yeah? So let's say someone entered the UK from China 2 weeks ago. That particular individual will not be part of that group, that cohort that the scheme is aimed at. Okay, so let me just run through that now. This is one group one. You entered the UK before the 1st of January 1973, and on the 1st of January 1973, we're actually in the UK. Yeah, that's one. Secondly, you entered the UK before the 1st of January 1989 from any country, including a Commonwealth country, and you've lived continuously in the UK since then. Thirdly, you were born in the UK or your parent or grandparent came from a Commonwealth country, you too can apply to the scheme. Fourthly, you entered the UK before you got to the age of 18 years old. And this is the case where many individuals in this particular group were deported from the UK. You entered the UK before you got to the age of 18 years old. And your parent or grandparent came from a Commonwealth country. So this is where you would have seen Muta in many cases. A lot of these people were being deported from the UK. And the assumption is made that these people were involved in some wrongs in the UK. So they may have entered the UK when they're 5, 6, 7 years old, Muta. They got in some little misdemeanor, as far as I'm concerned. Unless we're adults here. They might juggle weed, they might start smoking some weed. But that aside, let's say that is a criminal offense at the age of 28 years old. You enter the UK at the age of 4 years old. Whatever these individuals do in a Muta, right? It's not Jamaica or Nigeria that would have made them criminals, you know. It would have been the UK. Right? It would have been the UK. How they were socialized, etc., that would have made them criminal. Because as you know, Muta, you know, you have John Barnes, etc., a number of athletes, right, with Jamaican background, a number of athletes who left Jamaica and elsewhere in the Commonwealth and went to those countries. When they win gold medals or they win the football, etc., they don't class them as Jamaicans in a Muta.
No, they're British.
Exactly. So why, when it comes to something negative, they are classed as British? So that's where we're coming from, Muta. Okay? Now, I mentioned the particular, when the scheme was launched. It's actually not actually the Windrush compensation scheme in Muta. It's actually the Windrush schemes, because there are two schemes. You have the compensation element of it, and I'm going to go in a bit more detail into that. And you've got the status. So for those who enter before 73, as I mentioned earlier, and 89, you've got a number of individuals who enter the UK, stay there for a number of years, and then they left and they return to Jamaica, Nigeria, Ghana, wherever in the Commonwealth, wherever they are from, so to speak. Now they're outside the UK for 10, 15 years. They would have lost that indefinite leave to remain.
I'd like to ask you, suppose you have the UK thing and you come out so and stay in 10, 20 years. If you can go back and still achieve the same status.
Very much on point, Muta. So in the scheme, there's an element where it's called the returning resident visa. Enter the UK in the 60s, they live there for 8 years, they come back to Jamaica. So you're back in Jamaica now, yeah? 10, 15 years, 20 years or whatever. You can apply for a returning resident visa, right? And pick up from where you left and so to speak. But as you know, Muta, there's going to be certain rules and regulations, so to speak. Tell
me the rules and regulations.
All right, good, Muta. Well, so you'll have to have strong and continuous ties in the UK, which I think is ridiculous. That should not be part of the criteria. And those strong and continuous ties you would have had, so would have to be a brother, sister, son, daughter, close family members, or alternatively, you may have property there, house or business, etc. Right? That would be unfair to a certain extent. So let's say there are two brothers and two sisters, and one decide that they're going to live their life in a particular way, don't want to get married, don't want to have any children. Are you saying the one that decided to have children should have advantage over the one that decided not? So we think that's ridiculous. We are campaigning Muta for the past 2 years, the organization which I co-founded, Justice for Windrush Generation. For the past three years, we've been lobbying Parliament, UK Parliament, because that's where the problem starts in the Muta. And we believe the solution is in the House of Parliament, in the UK Parliament, which in the world, because I did mention the utterances earlier on about too many black and brown people were entering the UK, laws needed, so to speak. That was the utterances then. For the last 2 to 3 years, every other month we have been lobbying Parliament to get changes to the schemes, both schemes, the status scheme and the compensation scheme, to widen the scope of the scheme, meaning a lot of people that would not be eligible and entitled to compensation now, should the scope of the scheme be widened, and we have the scheme that we desire, not the one we've got now, right? Then a lot more individuals will be entitled to both to apply for the status, returning resident visa, etc., and also for compensation.
All right, I ask you. You just about 2 different categories.
Yeah.
You never flow with the category them. You never kind of put the category them. Make the people them can know the category them, and if them fall in which category.
All right, okay. So there are 3 categories. Number of categories. There are 3 primary categories I'm going to cover most of. There's the primary claimant, right? So you are the primary claimant, is you the individual Muta that was told you can't use the NHS, you had problems getting a British passport, etc., etc. Okay? That's the primary claimant, you the individual. Then there are also the deceased estate claim. There's absolutely no difference between a deceased estate claim and a primary claimant Muta, except that individual that would have been eligible and entitled as a primary claimant is now deceased. And as a consequence of that, the next of kin or the executor of the deceased estate will submit that claim, so to speak. Okay? No difference between the primary, just that one is deceased. So a deceased estate claim is a deceased primary claim, so to speak. Okay? And thirdly, you have the close family member. Close family member claim. You can apply as a close family member if you are a close family member of a primary claimant or a deceased claimant who is eligible and entitled. Which close family member we're talking about? It's not your great grandaunt or so on. It's a particular group of close family member we're talking about. And it's as follows. Wife or husband of the primary are deceased. Parent of the primary are deceased. Siblings, meaning brothers and sisters of the primary are deceased. Children of. Step-parent and step-children of. And this was not in the scheme. We campaigned for it, and that was brought.
One to uncle.
No, not including Muta. And sixthly, cohabitee. So you lived in a relationship for 2 years or more with that particular individual, whether it be the deceased one or the primary one. So you've got 6 categories there, Muta. There is no limit on the numbers. So hypothetically, let's say you have 20 children and 45 brothers and sisters. 65 can claim. You're fortunate enough for your mother and father still alive. They can claim as well. So there's no limit on the amount of numbers of close family members. It's not like there's a pot of money that's going to be shared up among the family members. Each close family member claim will be assessed on its own merit. And the reason for the close family member claim, Muta, is that let's say you were the primary claimant, Muta, right? But your brothers and sisters, you would have gone through certain struggles, you may end up homeless, etc., etc. Those brothers and sisters of yours and your children would have seen you going through the struggle, Muta, right? Stress out, might be a cry or whatever. You react in your own way to the struggle, but they saw you going through the struggle. That in turn caused a secondary impact, so to speak. So the close family member, brother, sister, etc., they too get stressed out. They could have been stressed to the extent, Muta, that they end up going into hospital, going inside, or to go in a mental institution. I've got cases like those that I am represented that the daughter is so stressed out due to what you saw the mother going through, even though the mother may not have been impacted to the extent that the mother ended up in a mental institution, but the daughter stressed out to the extent that she is impacted in the mental, and to the extent that she ended up in a mental institution. And there are various levels. Now, with that said, Muta, I have to give a different levels of compensation, right? Because it all depends both on the gradient and the extent of the impact. So level 1 is 10,000. Level 1 is like you've been impacted for a few days to a week. Level 2, 20,000. You're impacted, the weeks turn into months. Then you've got a level 3, 40,000. Level 3 is where you're impacted to the extent that you've gone and see a doctor or a professional, to be a counselor, etc., and say, Doc, I'm stressed because of what I saw my brother Muta going through, right? 4th, 70,000. You stressed, then saw the doctor, then went and got medication, then and still is on medication now. 70,000 level 4. Level 5 that you're stressed, then still stressed now to the extent that you can't work Muta, 100,000 and above. That is impact on life. Impact on life is how you've been impacted. Emotionally, stress, anxiety, inconvenience, etc. Yeah? But then on top of that, you are 13, 11 years of claim. You may have lost of earnings, you may not be able to work. You can claim for that. You're earning 20, 25,000, 30,000 per annum. For 2 years, you couldn't work. 2 multiplied by 25, 50,000. On top of the 100,000 or the 40,000 or whatever for impact on life. You may not have been able to get housing benefit. There is claim compensation there for that. You may not be able to get social security benefit, etc., etc. You may have, and if you have been deported, there is people who have been detained that you may have no motor locked up in the immigration centers. There are compensation for each night. I think it starts at 500 for the first hour, and then hours after the first 6 hours, I think it's 300. Don't quote me on that. But
let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have a relative, if you have a relative in England there, part of the Windrush generation, and that somebody have a youth, who did there in England with them, but them send home the youth to maybe the grandparents down there, so. And them dead in England, not the one who them send home, the mother, for instance, the mother is dead there. And then she dead, but she didn't send her youth to the grandparents down there, so. Can the youth claim because the mother dead or gone up Sandy mouth, or that go?
Very much on point. That question very much on point, and it seems like you've been in a lot of research, because
no research, I common sense.
Yes, well, yes. There are many cases like that, Muta. Yeah. In that, the short answer to that question is yes. But again, I'm gonna say each case is assessed on its own merit. But in generality, the answer to that question is yes, because that child here, mother passed away over there, parent passed away there. The child here in Jamaica, this part where they are in the world, would be the next of kin. So that in that case, that child would submit a deceased estate claim. However, that child would have to establish that they are the next of kin, and there's a process that to go through probate. For that process, they may have to employ the service of a lawyer. In such an instance, the government, the compensation scheme, the Windrush compensation scheme, will pay up to £1,500 for legal services, lawyer, to establish basically that individual is actually deceased and not sailing around the world on a cruise or whatever. So so there's a process that need to go through probate, and that £1,500 is there to assist with that.
And the person, the youth will get all the house, the mother left up there and all them here.
That's possible, but that's a different thing. That's a different. But the scheme itself is primarily to compensate those individuals. And the term I usually use, if your life has been impacted or disrupted due to your inability to prove that you've got a right to be in the UK, right? Whether it's the deceased individual or the primary claimant, then in such a case, then they should be compensated. There are a bit more detailed things than that, but in generality, that's what it is. What I would say, Muta, if you've got any relative right, close or otherwise, that has been to the UK, what I would suggest is that you get as much information about the scheme as possible and understand it to the best of your ability. Do not act on assumption. Do not think that is some people who left on the black and white ship, some boat back in 1948 and so on. It's not necessarily the case. There are individuals who went there in the 70s, 80s and so on, and the lives have been impacted, and I said earlier, and many of them have been deported. Don't think that is some great grandma or great grand uncle that went back went to the UK way back when. It's not that situation. It's that and many more, and much more than that. So you have to engage and get the information.
Well, my mother's sister did live up there, and she have her pick them up there, and she dead, and the pick them dead. I don't know who know them our estate belong to.
Right. In such a case, that's how a person like I would come in Muta, and I would do the research, get the information, and identify what the situation is, how they were impacted, if they were impacted, get the story, so to speak, and I use the term story very loosely. What the situation was then, if they were impacted, how they were impacted, and to what extent, and we'll go from there.
Well, so tell me something, the organization, how much members you have? It's somewhere you join or go?
No, it's not. It's an organization, because when I saw what was happening a few years ago, we set up Justice for Windrush Generation. They say you can contact us if you would like to submit a claim, or you can contact us, if you want to be part of the campaign to get changes to the scheme. In order to contact me, you can use the following number, +44, it's a UK number, +44 7999 178 111. That is +44 7999 178 111. Alternatively, if you would like to have a one-to-one.
Now get a machine. The person now get a machine with them call.
No, you call me. That's that you can call me directly, or you can straight, or you can call me on WhatsApp. You call me and you don't get me, I will see the missed call and I will respond more. I respond to all calls.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I know the time difference and so on. I will respond. Also, you can contact Justice for. You can search Google Justice for Windrush Generation.co.uk. The quickest way, to Google my name, Roland Hoslin. ROLAND Hoslin. HOUSLIN. I will come somewhere near the top on Google. All the relevant contact details will be there.
So you're connected to anyone in Jamaica know where you look about, or everybody in England where you look about?
I've got a number of people in Jamaica I'm representing. I'm representing people from across the world. From Nigeria,
Jamaica. I think we'll go Jamaica.
No, across the world, Muta. Right across the world and across the Commonwealth.
And you have an idea how much people legible for these things, like.
Well, and a rough numbers, I would say in Jamaica, estimate that is probably 2,000 to 3,000 people in Jamaica that would be eligible to apply and entitled to compensation. But a lot more people should be applying to the scheme. £500 million has been put up so far. I believe it should be 4 times that, about 2 billion. And of that 500 million is only 108, less than 110 million has been claimed so far over the past 5-6 years. Yeah, they need to come forward and claim.
No,
and many people that I know personally and start to understand the situation, Muta, when I say to them, they don't believe. A lot of people do not believe, Muta. So I was saying, claim, need to step forward, get information, engage with people like myself. Not necessarily me alone, there are others out there. Engage, get the information, just Google the Windrush Compensation Scheme. You'll go straight to the government website. All the information is there, all the application form, and there are various ways they can engage and contact.
I'm sorry for you, I know, because you're going to mention this on the program, so now you're going to get flooded now.
That is what I want more. This Saturday, Kynesland Rumble District Center must turn up and meet with me personally. You can have a one-to-one with me. Talk. I'm going to be here at Kynesland from 12 noon this Saturday, 19th of September, throughout the night. I know IRFM is going to be there.
We were supposed to do that, but the engagement, them kind of too close for me to do ever so much things.
We've got others coming up, Muta. We've got others coming up, and I'm sure at some point you'll be at one of them.
Yeah, man. Them ask me the other day about too much things. Anyway,
I understand.
All right, so we figure out how we reach you, and as I said before, you're going to mention this now, you're going to get attacked by one people, this and that, you know. So,
that's the whole idea in a Muta.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that is welcome.
So you have a team, I mean, you couldn't have this by yourself.
Yes, I've got a team of people behind me. I've got a team of people, others doing the exact same thing as I'm doing that, you know, doing interviews on radio stations, throughout the world, TV station, etc., etc. And if it's too much for me and I'm getting overwhelmed, I can signpost to other organizations. You have the Windrush Justice Community, you have Windrush National Organization, quite a number of organizations out there that I can, and individuals, I can signpost individuals to.
Yeah. All right, sir, give thanks.
I mainly focus on the campaigning, the House of Commons and so on, go in the belly of the beast and talk to them about the wrongs that they have done.
All right, sir. Give thanks, man. Give thanks.
We'll talk again, Muta, yeah?
Yeah. Very interesting. I hope on all listening, all those who are connected with England and who out there, so, and who have relative over there, so, and you did have British passport and now you don't have it again and you want it back. Very important interview that, yes, Windrush generation, very important because really and truly enough things over there. It's almost like get yourself in tune to get some reparation money. That is really what I do. It's some reparation thing. But it's not about slavery now. It's about the movement of people in this colonial British Empire. And not only that, but these colonial people did help build up England too. Yes, and fight all of them war when Germany and them did a fight. You have whole heap of Jamaica in the Royal Air Force where they did a fight for England. You know, so it's a very interesting thing because if you did born in England a certain time, you're supposed to get compensated for certain things. And that is really what the Virgin are talking about, you know. So I know some will get flooded tomorrow because you have thousands of Jamaicans so who did their England as a Windrush person, generation. And them come down here back now and never get nothing. Plus them families still up there. And some of them family are dead. And them down here so, and them supposed to inherit certain things and the Virgin attack. The man say millions of dollars up there for collect for people who find themselves in the category of Windrush. I have to just find the scheme and the compensation part where you personally connected to. You know, so yes, it's very, very important. Very important. Me kind of like it because it clear up certain things. It clear up certain things. That is what I'm really do. Okay, so, we're going, you see them, now if you watch to see if the advertisement are covered, I watch to see if we can play music. Alright, sir. It's terrible, you have to do that still, you know. But we can play this for all the people them who get caught up in this Windrush thing, and all the youth them who have British passport. Still, I don't use it. But no, so them have a right to England, because that most people have right to England, like Mr. Golden, who have him British passport and no one get out.
So you just find out about the reality over.
Play this thing, I feel the ones them, you know. There's a little girl I get interviewed by a man there, and I tell you, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Biology, radiology, gynecology, pulmonary prevention and diagnostic.
How many bones are there in the body?
206.
What is the skeleton?
A skeleton is the framework that supports your body.
Do you know what bones do?
Bones make blood, bones store minerals, and bones protect your organs.
Which organs?
The skull protects the brain, and the ribcage protects the heart, the lungs, the kidney, and the stomach.
What minerals are stored up in the bones?
Calcium, copper, iodine, zinc, chromium, selenium, magnesium, vanadium, iron, potassium, boron, manganese, folic acid, inositol, and biotin.
Why do we need blood?
It transports oxygen and nutrients throughout all parts of your body and taking away waste to the kidneys.
What does the kidney do with it?
The kidneys filter the waste products and excess water from your blood.
What is this excess water called?
Urine.
That's the scientific name, I suppose. What's the common name?
P. There are 3 types of blood cells.
What are they?
The red blood cells, the white blood cells, and the platelets.
The red blood cells.
The red blood cells carry oxygen to your cells and waste carbon dioxide away.
White blood cells do.
The white blood cells attack harmful bacteria in your body.
Platelets.
The platelets stop your blood from flowing if you have a cut.
Which is larger?
The white blood cells.
Which takes blood away from the heart to the kidneys?
The arteries.
The largest artery.
The aorta.
And where is it located?
Close to your heart.
What's the most important part of the brain?
Your cerebrum.
Why is that?
Because your memory is stored in your cerebrum. Because you have a cerebrum, you can recognize faces, talk, imagine, do a ball, think logically, learn, make plans for the future.
What are the other parts of the human brain?
Your cerebellum, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the medulla, and the spinal cord.
The organs of the body.
The brain, the heart, the lungs, the kidney, the stomach, the liver, the intestines, and the skin.
Muscles.
The deltoid, the dorsal, the pectoral, the biceps, the triceps, the trapezius, the gluteus maximus, the extensor, the flexor, and the Achilles tendon.
The gluteus maximus, where is that located? Any muscles in our face?
Over 30 muscles are in your face.
Which are muscles used?
When you eat, when you talk, when you laugh, and when you smile.
And what types of muscles do we have?
There are 2 types of muscles, the voluntary and the involuntary muscles.
What's the scientific name of the nose bone?
Nasal bone.
And the cheekbone?
Zygoma.
Jawbone?
Maxilla.
Collarbone?
The clavicle.
Shoulder blade?
Scapula.
Hand bone?
The metacarpals.
Finger bone?
The phalanges.
Longest bone in the body?
The thigh bone.
The smallest bone?
The tiny syrup bone in your ear.
What was the first world empire?
Babylon.
And what period is Babylon from?
605 BC to 538 BC.
But the Bible did speak about Babylon, did it? And what metal did it use to represent Babylon?
The head of gold.
Oh, which part of the Bible can we find this?
Daniel chapter 2.
Chapter 2. So we have the head of gold representing Babylon, but there's also a beast that is used to represent Babylon.
The lion with the eagle's wings.
What does the wings represent?
Speed.
Who's the last king of Babylon?
King Belshazzar.
The first king.
King Nebuchadnezzar.
How did Babylon fall?
By King Belshazzar drinking from the sacred cups that his father Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple in Jerusalem. And King Belshazzar drank wine in them to praise the God of gold, silver, brass, iron, wood, and stone.
There are 4 kingdoms. What are the other 3 kingdoms?
Medo, Persia, Greece, and Rome.
Specific events that happened in Rome.
Well, it was a Roman decree for Jesus to be born in Bethlehem, for all the children 2 years old and younger to be killed as Roman soldiers who mocked Jesus and crucified him on a Roman cross. Roman nails that pierced his hands. Roman soldiers who guarded the 2 Roman soldiers who put a seal on him. Roman centurion who said, surely this was the Son of God.
What's so special about Jesus?
Because Jesus loves everybody and he died to save them.
In the book of Matthew, it speaks about the genealogy of Jesus Christ, starting from Adam.
Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Arphaxad, Selah, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Serug, Nahor, Terah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, Perez, Hezron, Ram, Aminadab, Nahshon, Salmon, Boaz, Obed, Jesse, King David, King Solomon, Rehoboam, Abijah, Esau, Joram, Hosea, Jotham, Hezekiah, Manasseh, Ammon, Josiah, Jeconiah, Salatiel, Zerubbabel, Abud, Eliakim, Ezor, Zadok, Hakim, Eliud, Eleazar, Matan, Jacob, Joseph, husband of Mary, who was born Jesus, who is called Christ.
Here with Nile de Silva, a small little thing that a big God has been using with Port of Spain, its capital.
Trinidad,
St. George's,
Grenada,
Nassau,
Bahamas,
Havana,
Cuba,
Kingstown,
St. Vincent,
and Kingston,
Jamaica,
Castries,
St. Lucia,
Santo Domingo,
Dominican Republic,
Georgetown,
Guyana,
Bridgetown,
Barbados,
Caracas,
Venezuela,
Santiago,
Chile,
Buenos Aires,
Argentina,
Stockholm,
Sweden,
Brussels,
Belgium,
Amsterdam,
Holland,
Vienna,
Austria,
Bucharest,
Romania,
Budapest,
Hungary,
London,
England,
Berlin,
Germany,
Rome,
Italy,
Athens,
Greece,
Seoul,
South Korea,
Colombo,
Sri Lanka,
Damascus,
Syria,
Dubai,
the United Arab Emirates,
Tel Aviv,
Israel,
Nairobi,
Kenya,
Pretoria.
South Africa.
Hey, watch
I
your
want to
man.
be a doctor.
And I tell you, man, that little girl there, that little girl there, she don't use AI, I do that, you know. Bridget interview a little girl, and she black too. Why you know that? That black girl. What amazing thing that she's supposed to see that the Guinness Book of Albums. The data talk out every capital of every country on the earth. I think you have a little other little youth to do that too, you know. But she different, you know, because she'll tell you every bone in your body, where the bone name. Everything part of your body structure. I tell you, man, it's amazing. Amazing.
Really rocking, you know.
She joined Bell Labs in the 1980s and started working on a revolutionary idea, same technology that powers online calls today. She even created text-to-donate technology, which raised $43 million for Haiti relief in 2010. With over 200 patents, her innovations shaped how we communicate. In 2022, she became one of the first black women inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Imagine life today without internet calls. So why isn't Marion Croak a household name? Without this black woman's genius, we wouldn't have Zoom, FaceTime, or even internet calls. Her name? Marion Croak. And her impact on technology is everywhere. Born in 1955, Marion Croak always had a passion.
About them, I know, because we have so much things that go on on this program, it's unbelievable. Holiday again, no? Holiday again, man, yes.
Africa.
Blessed man.
Yeah, my pleasure to have you, and Sunday was very impressive.
Oh, you listen.
Yeah, couldn't miss no, man.
We did that Sunday again, too. We did that Sunday again.
Yeah, man, so much thing, big up to Rastafari and, her name, our Virginia from England.
Mandingo,
yeah. But so much thing moved anyway, because go cheap brief, because we have said these things to make them guys, you know, so we're angry and we must get better, because we deserve better, because our ancestors are already dead and PSC through prison and them blood. All right, Muta, you did interview the mayor last week. Mayor Ben Davis or whatever. Yeah, I'm tell about electric car, like say, you know, say for cost of living expensive. When you're thinking about it, poor people can't afford the Porsche him drive or whatever. Anyway, Muta.
Is that Porsche him drive?
Yeah, man, I think it's a Porsche. Yeah.
Oh. But electric car, we are going, you know, forget you that the gas business, you know.
Yeah, but Muta, Them
say transfer to that, no. That them will transfer to.
Them just say electric car would have it cheaper because you put, energy saver. But when you check it out, if you want people to buy electric car, why is it can't be cheap? And what if I'm on the field motor?
Yeah, but that should just come in, man. That's why it's cheap. It's so expensive.
Motor, I'm going to tell you, them, you see, like, them guys now want to live beside them at Cherokee and Beverly. Them, look on car motor. Just check the car part. The car part, them there on the car. Look like too much black people that drive car now. Them say, I could try to find a way to just squeeze them out. When me a boy, I walk, we used to walk. A red-skinned people used to say I drive Aston and Ford and Malibu. So when you turn on too much black people and too much car, and I get to know. So, them have a park it on the road, so them go around and put sticker on the glass.
So where is them, I don't know, all the man will buy BMW and Lamborghini, is why them a buy the black people them?
Well,
most
of the black people love hype in a motor.
Eh?
Most of the black people love hype, we don't believe in a generational wealth, we just love hype.
No, I know what true you say, a certain kind of people drive them car there. I mean, I tell you, say, a whole heap of youth now buy BMW.
Yeah,
most of the artists,
true, but
most of the artists, them, as a matter of fact, a BMW them buy.
Motor, you checked out if you can reflect me and go back in the time. Remember when we buy a battery, buy a battery for $500, a car tire, $250. One car tire for $20,000. Me have a car, me have a 91 Mitsubishi. And when me ask, whatever I call them name about one distributor, them I tell me about $70,000. I'm going to pay $50,000 for the car.
For the tire?
For one distributor.
Oh, distributor. I'm thinking it's a tire.
No, man, tire $20,000, man. Remember, when we the day here, $250 we have pay for tire. And me I tell a passman yesterday, me I say, obviously, nothing now go on. Everything else will go up. Motor, a bag of cement for 1,800. So them guys are not doing nothing to make poor people life better. But motor, when I was referring from where I talk, we still talk about land and tax motor. We, the government, own the land. Who is the government?
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Who is the government? And then me I ask them, me I want question, you know. I say, explain the tax on the land of me. Oh. I hear him now, the police, them have to get paid. Then question motor. What is the gas tax for? What is the PAY tax for? What is the gas pan food for? What is the tax pan? You buy a phone car.
You might take upon this thing, you know. I can understand if you have piece of land and them say, you say you want water and a man have to pay to bring the water come give you through pipe.
That understood.
And light, GPS have to buy wire and car and run for you.
Exactly.
But the land itself,
why you look for the
why you have to pay tax?
Yeah.
Why you have to pay tax, government? Because them things just start happening during colonial days, you know. Why people never used to pay tax for the land when them come here, come get, you know.
But them thief the land, so who them pay tax to?
Yeah, if them used to do things same way, I look after road and this and this and that.
Thank you, Muta.
And them never used to pay. So why we have to pay tax?
Why we have to pay tax? Because for my land, why we have to pay tax? And Muta, remember when them introduce the gas tax, them tell the purpose of the gas tax, and that is not serving the purpose because the place is still filthy. There's no road, there's no sidewalk, Muta. There's no sidewalk. There's no Muta, the man, them, Walter me black last year, black motor because of the trench and the man was black up. Yeah. And the man, them go on about 4 months ago, motor. They go bust the trench and the pipe them in there. And I tell motor, over 3 million back in there. I know the man them the motor take out the back or whatever them can take that and put it on the side and put some Irish mesh around over 3 months now. Motor I bet you 100,000. Drive, go down and see if it's still there. I remember I was so at the rainy season within a couple months time for wash it. I'm not about to wash back down there. For wash it back down for black the manual. 10 minutes them guys they having a sense apart from for one more land how much bank. Tell me the motor wild time where it's a piece of thoroughfare. And you couldn't do that at Beverly's and Cherry Garden and with my better money. Go out the motor from Agley Park where I stop light and come like our Chinese cemetery, the man them bust the thing and the plastic back, let me know. You find a way, you whistle water subside. Find a way and take out the back, whatever back them can retrieve from them, put it at the side motor. And you tell me about what got Casey and Campion and University. Tell me no motor. What is the level of intelligence that exercise here? Tell me who oversees these things with our National Work Agent. Tell me who are the Ministry of Development or whatever, are the man who was when they all the Ghana. Tell me no motor we are pay our money and tell me if where we are pay this overtax for, if it makes sense. Motor, you buy a card, a phone card for $600, for $500. You pay $200 or $300 for tax. When you use and call a man, by the time you hang up here, $4 for government tax. What is the purpose of that motor? We already pay tax already for the same card, you know. And nobody can explain nothing. No motor find me a Daryl Baz run off in mouth, boy. I heard that the taxi man them are overcharged and it now got man this, that. Motor, none of these guys don't do nothing to benefit poor black people, just chat. Election and motor. When they interview the guy when the bus fare was what, $100 and them are charged $150 all long. When you interview the guy and the guy say must have $30 and 3 times per man there, 2 in 1 down, I can't answer motor, chat him a chat. By a couple of days time it vanished. Motor, the man them are charged $200 for bus for taxi fare, $180 and the man put up sign and transport. Don't do a thing about it. Neither Daryl Baz, none of them do nothing about it, but election and there. Oh, I'm going to send transport to them. If you need to catch the man, we overcharge the people and I put 5 in our course, overload the course of the killer people. Why don't get a look of a police for going in a taxi and pay the money all up on the man? It's just like extortion. Put all the cover police in the business place and a boy, I come for your money. You come now and you hold him. Yeah, come, I promise I get checked up a while ago. Whatever, whatever do if any extortion, whatever, I must send soldier. So why not put soldier at the taxi man them door and the bus man and we have to extortion. When Mr. Boy I get beaten and revolver, I drop out a boy pocket and come on boy, look panda, because the scan regard for authority. Yeah, come and make chat about JDF. Yeah, JDF up there. Get them out for going on the bus park. Number one motor. What is the purpose of the big building behind Chases half a tree motor? That big building there, where you put one car there.
Hold on, you go too far. Where's about behind KGs?
That, no, behind KGR Chases, the big building where Ministry of Housing use. And I put a car park. Right, so the ABC this use there. Tell me the purpose of that. Eh? The big old building and land there are waste now. You put look on the guys level them are intelligent. You put the course of them over here, left over mothers. And you don't already have traffic back up there. So you put the taxi man them go Mona, Augustown now and 3 Mile and what time. Right in the little corner there, so where them used to wash car half a tree. Cluster left there, you see the scanner gun and you have this big old building. With up here, if such thing exists, I live in and I put one car mark at the front and the whole land space away. You know, lick down the place and widen the road, I put the coaster bus over there motor and let the taxi and say, all right, section A for 3 Mile, section B for Popping, section C for Augustown. Suppose, where is the planning and we are talking about? Man get raised up here motor and things are better. And the people them were supposed to be intelligent enough to advocate for we. And you are
have to take a break. The break guy, we have to take a break.
So motor, explain that feeling that to me now, motor. Because we don't really explain that to me. We are talking about development and progress. We're not proactive enough. That building, we just one car mark down there, and we have so much car mark and no road motor. And you have it close to them over York Pharmacy that side. I have the one little narrow road now when I used to wash car during Aquarius days motor. With so much, what the purpose of we now set up a building and then get the Eagles them from the Brooklyn supermarket so people can walk for the sidewalk. Station them structure the place over there and make them go over there some motor with the bus them so you have more land space. Because obviously when we're building and spread out, so when we cluster the road with car or the country with car, there's no here after widen the road. And you have this big old building. Who own it? And them
go to have plans for it, that's why they not touch it yet.
For themselves to put hotel there, Muta.
I don't know which part of them going to put there, but them people have a way. So they see it come like empty place, and then when you look, you see whole heap of construction are going.
Thank you, Muta. And Muta, you want if I just Carbo and you and Jerry and Miguel really in this country where have a brain. Nobody will go university and I like them flag or display them flag on them review mirror for people feeling free. Say you got Campion and Casey. Nobody know that we want to do. So we're bright and when I show it physically to help people and develop countries. Muta, when Trump done already, make them stay there and not start a plant on them house. Make them stay there. And them they run around like headless fowl. Like them down the center, take what them can't take. And so them can't take them private plane and run. I don't know if we run going on Muta. A 5 years take me for renew my passport, you know. I don't know if we run down a white man country, you know. For the white man come shoot me down there, can't see that. We're going to fight war for them. And Muta, a German man, 1,000,000% have the chance to go to England and a black Jamaican where him forefather or him grandfather and great grandfather go World War I or II. Them for go and come here and tell we're Polish. Muta, when I get somebody to interview for land, call somebody sensible from land agent, ask them, oh, we want to pay tax. And finally, Muta.
I know me call them because ask them to get somebody.
Promotion, them look, man. From what I come to Polish, it's not really like man either. Muta, we still want to know about 3 trillion. When the announcement of favor, the comment, you know, like them, I say them now. Them it dead about them to get together. I notice it just dead touching us and the governor general mouth seal. We know hear nothing about the 3 trillion. Wait there. From Ministry of Finance, where the money there. And it mentions say it can't get accountant to come and put a spin on it. Like somebody would have said, you thief it and somebody says, no, it's not thief, somebody just borrow it or it's dead about we not group it up. What happened to these people? And the opposition just run around one win or behave like them win. I have no idea.
I don't know where them are do. I don't know where them are do.
Push this country forward, Muta.
Make them see the election run already.
Thank you. Make them see a cut up the land and make we go up on a drive for farming. Because we can't buy food, Muta. I 1,800 per bag of cement. Muta, we used to buy a little fruit thing at the supermarket for $150. At $300, I said, no, bro, I'm a live alone.
Well, yeah, wait till Donald Trump tariffs start take effect with the things them where we are bringing out the country and where we are saying go over there.
In the pan TV, I talk about extortion and army. Why don't put the soldier them down a downtown where people extort the busman them and beat them with a revolver drop out and pocket? Why not put the extortion them and Tree where Grand Spend man extort them, Hamburg Lane extort them, Redis will extort them, Transport extort them, Police extort them. So we can't get breathing space no more in this country. You are talking about army or go upon your construction site. Cut out the extortion. You should have run a country where a boy knows say, even if him see a gun and nigga the road motor, and him go off a chin, turn back and go back at Devon House and go way around a Hope Road there for fight it. A boy them want to mention the word extortion anymore. I saw you run a country with rules and regulation and get the country back discipline. You have taxman, you have police harass, decent law by saying you have busman and put 5 in a row. I overload the bus to come crash and kill our people, and you come on TV and talk about harm. But you have them out there to come kill on poor people, put them out downtown for walk the street and mingle and mix with the people and socialize with people and put the police them there.
Don't go where we are fighting at Jamaica, so the army should have on the road. I don't know what we need the army for.
Exactly. And we still have container coming inside. Muta, so never here with you. So you hear quickly go, I must say Japan donate for boat. I mean, I tell you to them, don't have no boat. Marine must have one boat in operation. Coast Guard is just one boat. Them have a showpiece. So them here with So I just sham Muta. Sham. Nothing now patrol the coastline, Muta. Nothing because if anything are coming upon the coastline, Muta, you have a radar. You see the light come on. And once the coast guard there, the marine, you see the radar light, and you can't get a call for that vessel or ship that you go where there and check it. Nothing, I just talk, Muta, talk. Because the gun them not kill them, the gun them a kill people in our Grand Spen, Rima and Tibali and Maxfield Avenue. It not kill them. And two, them not follow poor black people until election come. Them not business. Make it start with Cherry Garden and Beverly and now because you're still different. That's why I go up the clean. Put a long life here, my brethren.
Move. Give thanks.
Cool.
Yes, the brethren have enough things. Enough things for the mind. All right, we'll take a break and come forward.
Cover any credibility on the global stage, and that's to actively and aggressively stop Israel. Cutting ties, just cutting ties, isn't going to be enough at this point. You need to impose a no-fly zone over Gaza, impose more sanctions against Israel than you imposed against Russia. You need to demand immediate IAEA inspections of Israel's nuclear facilities. You need to revoke the American citizenship of every Israeli dual citizen and seize all Israeli assets in America and Europe. You need to take Netanyahu to the ICC yourself. Join the South African case at the ICJ. Ban Israeli media. Treat the Israeli flag the same way that you treat the swastika. Designate the IDF as a terrorist organization and Israel as a state sponsor of terrorism. And if that doesn't do the trick, then you need to launch a shock and awe campaign against Israel the same way that you did against Iraq, the same way you did against Libya and Afghanistan and so on, and bomb them back to the Stone Age, because that's what you do, isn't it? Isn't that supposed to be the American way? But we all know you'll never do that. And because we all know that you'll never do that, we all know that you have never meant a single word that you said. And that's why no one is ever going to listen to you again. The only thing that you can possibly do to salvage yourself is something that we all know that you will never do. So you've been found out. You've been exposed. Your cover has been blown. The audience for all your speeches about democracy and liberty and human rights are filing out of the building, and we've turned off your microphone. Oh, you've passed the Rubicon of hypocrisy at this point. There's no going back now. The world is moving on, knowing what we know. And no matter how much you repeat your completely bankrupt narrative, you can't make us unknow what we know about you. America is a train wreck that collided with a dumpster fire, and you're trying to put that fire out with oil and plutonium, and everyone wants to get as far away from you as possible.
The world's terrorists are the United States. Look what we did to Iraq. Look what we did to Libya. Libya, the most successful country in all of Africa. The guy created the eighth wonder of the world with the way how he delivered water and turned deserts into farmland. And everybody had a house and everybody had education and healthcare. And we turned it into a failed state run by terrorists with open slave markets. Who did that? Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton did that. And they'll never have to pay a price for that. Barack Obama, the most they'll do is go, that was a mistake.
But why did they get rid of Gaddafi?
Because he was going to start a currency of Africa just for that was going to compete with the U.S. dollar and the euro. And they can't have that because the way the United States controls the world is because the United States dollar is the reserve currency of the world. So that's why they can put sanctions on all these countries. And so what they're doing, which they shouldn't do, they're weaponizing the U.S. dollar. And so like when countries want to trade with each other, they have to go take their currency, change it into U.S. dollars so they can trade. And a lot of it was based on the petrodollar, which, by the way, Saudi Arabia just quit. They didn't renew it. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
So, and all of a sudden, CBS News is starting to do news stories about how Saudi Arabia was involved in 9/11. All of a sudden, 24 years later, all of a sudden, oh, you know what? Turns out there was something. And they're like, you mean 2 weeks after they decided to not renew the fucking petrodollar? Now CBS News is allowed to talk about that and investigate it, which when I talked about it, it got demonetized. So that's why, because Gaddafi was doing that. Mm-hmm. He was going to set up a currency for all of Africa, and it was going to be based on have a gold standard. And so they're like, no, you're not. You're not fucking doing that. And they made up a bullshit thing like.
You know.
Yeah.
What about things are moved, man?
No, I in our kitchen, man, and some man, I watch some pot on it.
Yeah, but you have to move the pot if you want to talk on the radio.
Yeah. So, yeah, everything good.
Yeah, I got you know.
Yeah. We love that, you know, because we love what I go on. The birds in the poor, you know, it have a whole heap of
things are viable, you know, my way for viable things, I mention of. You see me I say, where definitely the people want them to be corrected. You see me I come from. And I love that still. You see me I say, at least, you know, you have ones and ones out there interested in the whole policy and the movement of the thing, you know. Like you say, you might have the money thing and thing, the 3 trillion, 11 years now, them can't give a pound to money. And something has to be done and them have to rectify that, you know.
Something has to be done.
Because I am the eye, you know, say, Bad Friday come here now. See, anniversary of Bad Friday.
And go down a mobile. You're not going to a mobile.
No, I can't reach them now. You see, it's circumstances, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, we have to look for it and remind the people, you know, because we see a CARICOM meet when they say repatriation, them and discuss the CARICOM meeting. But that's right now, the people need to talk about that another day at the conference. You know, see, there's some regular political people where I look at every out at the politics thing to say they might look out for the struggles, you know what I mean? While some people are modified, like the I man, or some other man who in the struggle from long time and know what I want to give them a first-hand account of all the things here. You see? And we have to work on that too, because that is important, you know? That is important. You see me I come from. And you know, and people have to know, say, right now, we're upon a level where we're not turn back, you know, or we're not going no other way, you know. We have got to on the thing of it called movement of life. And in this thing, infrastructure, they must say the land. I tell you something. You know, so Jamaica have 3,000 acres of land down there for the American military.
Don't where? Don't where?
In Jamaica.
No, which part in Jamaica?
Them don't say. But nobody know. Them say that is a contract with 99-year contract with them signing in 1941. The Jamaica, the American military, 3,000 acre land. So 3,000 acre land dead with the government now. Tell nobody about it. When America decides they want to implement the contract, even though it's to expire now, but you don't know them wait until 1 day before then and just renew it. You see now come back. So that is something in place. So sometimes you see some money per land there when nobody now enough with a part of the 3,000 acre that. You see, because that's a big military base span, you know. So all of them things they must tell the people. They must have the people go on and he like food around in a circle. So the government have to give some accountability, you know, see, because the Prime Minister, Dr. Holness, he must fight the Integrity Commission for things we go on where we know say no integrity never involved in it. That's why it go on. So from the Integrity Commission come and make mention of the thing, them to give the full investigative process and make us go on and put it out on the table and stop fighting the thing. Like a man knows him guilty and he don't want to get the phone, so he might fight against the man who want to make the charge against him. And he might call the charge and then set up the system for the Integrity Commission on the way. So now they don't want it on the way, they want to change the rules. It's like you play ball and a man says stop. Don't change the rule in the middle of the ball game. You see, can't work so. You know what I mean? Because we have to keep them on them toes, you know. Because like me, your reason, and I say, why do you listen to one of your previous program, you know? And I say, who them? Because I want to find out about them. Because them around the thing, you know. And whoever them is, we have to find them and get to know them. Because they have to come up with what them I say and show it where them are dealing with. Guys, see where I come from. So you see, the process where we are working right now is to make Rastafari be the head, because we can't make nobody lead to go that way. You know see? So this is where we have to carry it, bro. You know what I mean?
Rastafari be the head of what? No, we're Rastafari be the head of.
Eh?
Well, you say Rastafari must be the head of. Yeah.
The head of black people. Rastafari have to be the head of black people, you know. Originally, the original I-Man, because I-Man was the first man, you know, and him translated him to Adam, you know, because I.
Yeah, no, we're the one, you're going into semantics, you know, what may I say?
No, me just say, I man.
But you know you ask about I man. But me ask you something. How Rasta going to be the head of where you say the head of what? What am going to be the head of?
The head of black people of fears. You know,
how them going to do that? How them going to do that? How them going to do that? How them going to be the black? The head of black people, yeah.
By the leadership, by the qualification, we don't have.
By what is it? What is it that we have? Tell me, what is it? What is it that Rasta have to be the head of black people all over the world? You talk about our black people in Jamaica. Yeah. Black people all over the world.
All over the world. So we have the knowledge, you know.
Which knowledge? Tell me something where black people have, where Rasta not have, or Rasta have, where black people not have.
Black people don't have the knowledge of themselves. Black people don't have the knowledge of themselves.
No, but you have to sound like black people.
That's the first thing.
So if you're not Rasta, you don't have no. So if you're not Rasta, you don't have no knowledge of yourself. What that you say?
Yeah, because Rasta is the fullness of the thing. You have a limited amount of knowledge.
Hold on, man. You talk too much, man. You talk too much, man. I ask you something. You tell me, say, it's ongo. If you're not Rasta, you don't have no knowledge of yourself.
You don't have the full understanding of the thing, because you're not a Rasta.
What is the thing? What is the thing? So you say if you're not Rasta, you don't have no knowledge. You don't have knowledge of yourself. What that you say?
No, you have an idea. You have a certain part of it.
So what is the part where the people have? So all right, for instance, no, Marcus Garvey, you know.
Yeah.
He never have a knowledge of himself. He was no Rasta.
Yeah, him come sure you have Rastafari, right?
Well, I'm sure
Rastafari. Come sure you have Rastafari, right? Because you look to the east and a black people shall be called, you know, because the redemption of the black
man. No, but him also did a fight against His Majesty.
Eh?
Him also did it out as His Majesty.
Them fight against His Majesty?
Yeah, man. Marcus Garvey did a lick out against His Majesty, man.
Yeah, no, him have to lick out. Him have to lick out. Because remember, he look on a perspective of a physical thing. He never look on the spiritual concept. The war and go on. Remember, it's a superior power. He come over from our side to fight them, you know. But His Majesty didn't look on a diplomatic basis. But Marcus Garvey is not a man of warrior spirit.
So you say no, Marcus Garvey never have a knowledge of himself. So you say no, but why the man attack and now you're nothing, Rasta? You know why you're nobody?
No, me I say.
But me ask you something. Me ask you a question. Me talk about his relationship to. If you're not Rasta, you don't have a knowledge of yourself. You tell me, say all them black.
You don't have a knowledge. You don't have the total.
The total. All right, the total. And you tell me now, say
you have an idea.
Yeah,
you have the full knowledge of the whole thing.
So me ask you know, all them black people will come before Rasta, before 19. All the black people them will fight the struggle here to reach us up, to make us reach us now, and them wasn't Rasta. Yeah, them never have no full knowledge of themselves.
No, listen. The name, don't look for the name, you know. The name is just between the modern day version and Rasta, you know.
So what was the old time version? What was the in time version? What was the old version name? The name?
The oldest version when I studied from about the 3rd century was a set with them called Ebionites. Ebionites.
So you're an Ebonite then? You're an Ebonite.
People will come under the same concept of Rastafari command.
So you're an Ebonite. You know, more people have the concept of Rasta and say, I don't know nothing about Rasta.
No, them not have the concept. Them perceive an idea from outside.
So tell me, what is the concept of Rasta? What's the concept? All right. So what's the concept of Rasta? Tell me, what's the concept?
The concept of Rasta is one thing, you know, is love, you know. Love is the whole master plan of Rasta.
And if you're no Rasta, you don't have no love. So no Rasta, if you're no Rasta, no love, no there. You have to say, you have to know Rasta, no love for no Rasta. You have to know Rasta for no love.
Yeah, Rasta is love. So if you don't have no love, you don't know Rasta.
No, so you can't have love and not have no Rasta and have Rasta.
No, once you have love, you have Rasta.
So if you're a Rasta, you have love.
Yeah,
So
every Rasta, you have love.
So every Rasta have love.
Yeah.
But everybody who love is not Rasta.
Everybody who love is not Rasta. No,
No,
not when the European them has love.
Oh, you going to Europe, Rasta? Where you going to Europe for? Where you going to Europe for? Where you going to Europe for? But me never mention nothing about no love and no loss and European. Why you mention about European love?
No, what I say here is love in the context of the word. We look on the word with them teach, you know.
So may I ask you if you know Rasta, you can't love without Rasta, that you say?
No, yeah, you can't love without Rasta. Yeah.
That don't sound like foolishness to you.
No, it don't sound like foolishness.
So you can't, you have to say no, all the 7 billion people upon the world now, if them are no Rasta, them not have no love?
Them not have the love where them supposed to have. Them have an idea.
What love is supposed to have? What love is supposed to have? Love and love. The
love and Rasta is equal for everything and each and everyone.
You have to listen people. So Uncle Rasta have that. Uncle Rasta have that.
Yeah. Because Rasta is the only movement that I come see and study. When I see no fame and power and fortune.
No, I'm not talking about no movement. We are talking about movement. For me, I ask you, people who are no Rasta, them know what it takes to be loved, to love. You have people who is not Rasta, never hear about Rasta yet. Them don't know nothing about love.
I mean, them don't know nothing about love. Not because they never hear about Rasta. That means to say, love, we are talking about it as spiritual, inman thing, you know.
No, but I ask, so you don't have to be Rasta for love. What I say, you don't have to be Rasta for love.
Yeah, because it's just like to translate the word, you know. You translate the word from Rasta to love or from love
but
to Rasta.
Love, Rasta don't mean love. Rasta don't mean love. But Rasta don't mean love.
You see? Yeah,
Rastafari don't mean love. Oh, you get Rastafari for mean love. Oh, you get Rastafari for mean love. Everybody who love a Rasta. Everybody who love is Rasta.
Yeah, everyone who love is Rasta.
So the people them who are not Rasta and them not have no love.
Yeah, the people who are not Rasta them not have no love. And the people who not have no love is not Rasta.
Then that sounds sensible to you, brethren.
Yeah, man, you mean, man, if it sounds sensible, look on it. Look on the eye. Just look on the eye self, like how I look on eye self. I approve the world love. I come to the world with love, you know. I give the world love. My fellow man, I deal with him like how I want him to deal with I. And I is Rasta.
So I'm to the man who not deal with you like how you want to deal with him.
I'm privileged over the next man who want to live in a love and harmony and unity. It's Rasta.
So all my mother was Rasta too.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean.
My mother don't know Rasta, Bridget. My mother is not Rasta.
No, listen to what I say.
Me hear what you say, but it don't sound sensible to me.
The imagery, listen to what I say now, because I go through the same thing with I go through, you know, with the church and all them thing there. You know. The thing is because of the concept of the ideological, colonial reasoning and thought where them carry to the education they them give it. It make you look for yourself from a negative and then from a positive like they're more affluent like
But oh, you talk about them, so who is them? You talk about them, them are not them you talk about.
Can buy a place in heaven.
But you talk about them, you keep a mention them.
The Rasta from destroy that, knock down that and mash down that and show the people and say, listen, I is the sons and the daughters of God Almighty, the Spirit of God, the inner God our Father, and He make me today. See? So Him give life. So the life we are living, we use it to praise Him in the context of goodness, fellow man equally, accordingly. So if I man want to show I love, I show the I love. Without love, there can be nothing. This concept of them coming is a devil movement, is an evil movement, you know. Where
that devil, but I never talk about no devil.
I want rule over the eye.
So you can't say love instead of say Rasta then. So you can't say love instead of
that have nothing to do with the living of life.
So you can't say love without Rasta there.
To be a better place. Rastafari come to make it away there. That's why it is Rastafari at the head.
Can you say love without Rasta? Can you say love without Rasta?
No, you can't say love without Rasta.
So are the people them who are so are the people them out there so who say them love them and them not say Rasta, them are not love?
No, them not know.
Like my mother know. Hold on. Like my mother, my relative. My mother says she love, but she no Rasta.
In the physical as well, you know it.
Oh, you mean physical? They no physical, you say love, you know. What you talking about?
No,
she show love by physicalness.
She said she love, but she not sure you the physical.
You can't tell me say my mother not sure what she said. Bridget, you know my mother? You know my mother?
No, I can't have to know your mother because I
you can't know. You can't tell me my mother. You can't tell me my mother deal that way. And you don't know her. My mother said she love. I had to Mr. Shana Rasta. My mother no Rasta.
Listen to me. My mother said she could have told me about the Gully side. You know? So me I said, okay, mother, have you? And me said she have to love you for have you because she could have told you about the Gully
but
side.
But she no Rasta.
What do you mean she no Rasta?
My mother no Rasta.
What is your definition of Rasta?
Don't ask me what my definition of Rasta. You don't tell the definition of Rasta from your talk. You say Rasta I love. I love a Rasta. Anyway, we have to move. We have to move. We have to move. Call me back next week. Or later on. A serious thing. As we say, the Virgin a while ago, very dogmatic. You know, I'm reasoning. He gonna define everybody in a theme way, you know, in a theme image. He might create people in his own image, in a theme image. So for you say, love your Rasta. I don't know if that is what define a Rasta. Because if you define Rasta, that means you say, you'll say like him, say everybody a Rasta, and everybody a no Rasta. Everybody a no Rasta. Where them say, them could have kind little more and love little more. Not because them love and kind, them a Rasta. Rasta is a cultural expression of a people. Rastafari is a cultural expression of a people. And it developed because of trying to struggle out of colonialism and slavery. That is what Rastafari is. Fighting against colonialism and slavery. A people define themselves as Rasta. It's a cultural expression of a people. It's not a cultural expression of everybody in the world. This one love thing grip everybody so. Because your love is a Rasta. I mean say, any guy can come and say him love and then trick you because you say everybody who love is Rasta. I don't believe that. There's a definition that defines Rasta. And it's not just saying love, I say you love somebody. If that be the case, what is the purpose of Rastafari? The main thing about Rastafari is the idea of moving away from colonialism and slavery and the mentality that breed that. That is what it is. And one heap of people know say Rastafari can't stand up without the cultural expression because that is what defines Rastafari more than anything else. The cultural expression. Nobody culturally express themselves like Rasta and say them is Rasta. Them you have the Bata way, you have the Barfal, you have the Sadus. If you see them a walk on the road, I think so the whole of them is Rasta. And if you go talk to them, you got think so the whole of them is Rasta. Because the whole of them I tell you say love too. Them I say love said we here. But a Barfal is not a Rasta. It means a Sufi, like Muslim. It means a Muslim. And the Sadhus them in India is not Rasta. And them are deal with love, just like the Sufi, just like the Muslim them, the Bafal, just like the Bataway them in Ethiopia. Them are deal with love, just like the Buddhists, just like the Hindu. Bullipa people are deal with love. And not because them are no Rasta, I will say them not deal with love. That is a narrow perspective of fundamentalist Rastafari craziness. Fundamentalist is a problem, you know. Yeah, because you always have to center everything around your understanding of self. That is what it does. People who become fundamentalists, them design everything around what them think and what them believe. Them define it around that. So, for them view of self and them understanding of self must come through for them window. That's what it is all about. So you redirect, like a man out there say, well, everybody are Christian because they believe in a love. How that possible? Christian is an idea, is a way of seeing things theologically. That is what it is. Christianity is an idea. It has a certain theology that bind it as Christianity. So everybody can't come say them are Christian because them believe in a love. Because them is not. The Buddhists have an idea that bind them. And that's why them say them is Buddhists. And them is not Hindu. And them is not Muslim, just like the Muslims. The Muslims don't walk around and say them is Buddhists. If you do them, I deal with love. So it's not the idea of love that define you. It's your cultural expression as you tailor love to your condition. Your cultural expression is defining, is a definitive time and space where you set yourself into. That cultural expression is set you apart. But you could be dealing with love, just like the Muslims is do, all of them. All of them are deal with love. I don't know which one of them now deal with love. Muslims are deal with love. Buddhists are deal with love. Sufi are deal with love. All of them are deal with love, but not all of them is Buddhist. All of them is Sufi. All of them is Christian. All of them is Rasta. Because there's certain things that set them apart from each other because of the human condition and the environment where you live in. Because the environment where you live in make you proclaim what you say. The environment where you live in, unless you go and go now, look on the environment and see the different things in the environment, and then you say you want to associate, you want to have that cultural expression like that. Like them over there. So you shape your cultural mindset to satisfy that expression over there. So I say this cultural expression over there. So all of them are say love, but all of them are not Christian. And all of them are not Rasta. And not because you say love is a Rasta. I don't see that. I don't see that. Because my mother is not a Rasta. And my mother love me, and my mother love. And if you come in the house with this Rasta talk, she liable for one run you out. And I know say she not love. But she shape her mindset according to the expression and basically the cultural expression, theologically and socially otherwise. And she define herself through that. So other things just look alien. You who come now, you start to do the same thing in a different way. People start to define people. Who you is, instead of ask you who you are, they might tell you who you is. And I said work. You can't come define me. I have to define myself. And if it fits in your little thinking, so be it. But I now sit down on this radio here and tell people, say, from you deal with love, you're Rasta. And now I say that. I refuse to say that. I'm going to tell you, say, boy, from you do your meditation and your yoga and all them things, you're Buddhist. No, Buddhists have a certain way. Buddhists have a certain way. Just like voodoo have a certain way. The Igbo tradition, the Yoruba tradition have a certain way. That is what it is. I'm done with that. I'm done with that now. So, I can see this will not play. No, we are not that will not play. I try to find the tune where they plant up. Okay, I plant it up. See it, yeah? Go feet again. Here we go.
The motor.
Yeah.
Why I deal with?
What may I deal with?
Now ball it, you know. I love me say.
So how ball it coming at that?
Well, no, you know, say, man, the man say. Rasta alone love, right?
Well, no, him say, well, I don't know where I'm saying now, but something like that him
all
say.
over the place.
No, but, you know, the man talk still, but
Yeah.
I don't agree with what him say, you know?
Yeah, I understand. What I say is, how come whenever you have a little segment for Garnet Silk? Well, over years, me, I'll
Garnet Silk dead long time, man. I play him tune them, but I don't have no segment.
I mean, like when you birthday and so if you can play 1 and 2 tunes.
All right. Tomorrow we do that.
Because I always listen for Wednesday and Thursday.
Thursday, all right. I promise you, tomorrow. I want Shane remind me too. Tomorrow
yeah,
I'm going to play.
Even the last program, April 2nd program for Wednesday. I mean, that tune in the thing. I said, oh, Muta never
true that. No, well, I'm going to play Garnet Silk. You know, I think from 5 to 6, 5 to 5:45. I play one artist.
Okay.
One stepping razor. From, if you listen, you will hear it. 5 to 5:45. I just feature one artist. So tomorrow, I'm going to feature Garnet Silk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
you. I can write it down. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, man. And one other thing, the Bridget that talk about dial bars and things. You remember when the land, them did that sell, them did their land one time, right?
Them did
what? They have a land portfolio.
Must be.
Yeah, man. And that's
The hotel thing there.
When in that we land them pay much money, undervalue it. You know, PNP them the lick out on it and thing, and all of a sudden the money pull out. You know, you're not work on that. Money pull out.
Now pull them pull out, you know, never you're not again.
Yeah.
They be sitting there to that.
And then the man will say about fight corruption, and instead of, you know, the man rotate the money, no fire nobody, you know.
No, them not fire. They don't see the man with a beat up the man with the chairman.
Yeah.
You know, see him come back well strong and ready again.
Man come in, say my fight corruption, but why? The man come in, the man just,
when I grew up, man, I want to make my family. Because they get with everything, Bridget.
Everything. You know, I mean, you know, all the promises before, you know, or my election date. So we don't know no date for election.
Straight. Yeah, I'm not saying that going to be a fixed date.
Yes, fixed date, and you know, you're not worried when the more about now when election I go call. You have a fixed date.
America have a fixed date, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Every November, I think at the 7th or 11th or somewhere.
Yeah.
The election will come. Which no, that is a better, to me, that's a better thing.
Yeah, man, that is. Because you hear, Malahu Ford. Yeah, say December.
And September again.
No, them say they want something like Constitution where say it can go up until December.
Yeah, me know, but it's supposed to be September.
Yeah, it's supposed to be September.
They're going to use for them discretion to say
right.
Enough.
Yeah,
foolishness that.
But Mr. Bobby Magic, you say them call it when they're ready. They're not ready yet.
No, it should have been a fixed date. To me,
yeah, man, it should be a fixed date. But you know, the money come in with, you know, election promises with everything, and then all of a sudden everything showed the window, you know? Yeah. But yeah, man. But the guy is still, man. I'm a favorite artist. I'm a little bit.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna tell you about hear it tomorrow, Bridget.
All right, no problem.
We can go by it.
Yeah, man. No problem. Here's me. I listen to you. I first me I call you know. I'll go all about in our world, study, come back. Now we go tune in.
Where you go study? We go
get scholarship and go overseas in Nevada.
You there Nevada?
Yeah,
where you study?
Accounting.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So you come now big in one of them bank. And, SSL
so,
bank.
Funny, when we graduate, I come back home. I'm about to go back in a turmoil, you know. Yeah, I have to go back, you know, in Uncle Trump line, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, but, you know, all them things.
I hope you don't end up at El Salvador.
No.
Because I say American citizens that end up down there no much less.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Man, you know, dig up phone and all them stuff there, and, you know, if you oppose people, only, North Korea.
Yeah, that might bring totalitarian for the people, them.
Yeah, so if you go past.
You see, Harvard, you see them draw away funds from Harvard, how much $1 billion from Harvard.
Yeah,
Yeah, them draw it, you know, totally, you know, them not funding.
Yeah. DEI program and all them stuff.
Yeah, because them attack and them demonstrate against Palestine, Israel. Yeah. The man, them just take with that. Anyway, keep thanks, Bridget.
Yeah, man, that's it. Respect, yeah?
Yeah, man, I agree.
All right, bless it.
Towards me, you know, and last week it was the same thing, almost 2 hours. Yeah, man. So we have to talk quick. It was at the Jamaican High Commission because the Minister for Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Forte, was there discussing public meeting at the High Commission about the Jamaica being a republic, you know. So in the question and answer part, I said to her, you talking about people voting on that type of thing in a referendum for Jamaica to be a republic. If the people are not educated
they will vote to retain the enslavement system of the British monarchy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I quote Marcus Garvey saying, emancipate yourself from mental slavery because none but ourselves can free our minds. And that our teacher, Marcus Garvey Jr. from the 60s, did say that Jamaica must become a republic, an African republic too. You know what I mean?
So what should you say when you say about...
So when we say that here, you know, she said that, well, you know, that's true, but civics will help. Civics will not help. You need mass education of the people. Because a lot of our people are mentally enslaved, as me, you know, Muta. And I said that our people being mentally enslaved, so many of them, then we get buyout due to licky to maintain the same racist British monarchical system, you know? And that the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey is still not in the school curriculum in Jamaica. So she had to agree that that is true. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, a brother asked me last week, well, 2 weeks ago, I never remember. I asked why England have two flags.
Why England have two flags?
Yeah.
It's not two flags.
That's the question.
England, no, I'm answering. England has one flag, which is the cross, the white and red thing. That's the flag of England.
Yeah.
But the flag for Great Britain involves England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. Wales, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I want to get into that ask me though.
Yeah. I figure that is it. That's how the two flag combo. But you know, the Scottish flag, for example, with the blue and white thing is of St. Andrew, while the English flag is the St. George with the white and red. You know?
British versus
but
English.
the British flag
British versus English. British versus English. Englishman
British versus English.
Yeah.
Is that Britain, Israel, and the English control the England's section of the island of Britain, of Great Britain.
But some black people say them are British.
Yeah, but the ones them who say them are British, them use it in a loose way because them don't really understand the definition, you know, and things. Because the word Great Britain does not refer to Britain being great, you know. It refers to the island which is known as Great Britain as being the biggest of the British islands. Because you have the British islands.
Yeah.
Right.
British Isles, them call it,
Exactly, the British Isles. Another way of saying islands, right.
Yeah.
You see?
Okay, all right. I hope you might listen.
Yes. And a serious situation with the extortion with the brethren at about, we still are going on in Jamaica. You know, Muta, and that put off enough people from wanting to do business in Jamaica. The extortion thing, man, you can't have no progress in our country with extortion so rampant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? And that means, say, the both PNP and GLP not dealing with that situation. You can't have progress in our country where extortion is right. And by the way, the Supreme Court here in England and Wales have ruled that a woman is someone who is born biologically as a woman. So you know the LGBT, them vex about that.
Yeah. Well, Trump the same too. Trump the same now accept.
Yes. Trump
male and female, two gender, male and female.
There are only two genders, male and female. But the court here, the Supreme Court here in England and here, have ruled that a woman is one who is born biologically as a woman.
Yeah.
So there's only man and woman. Same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have the writer J.K. Rowling, who did come under attack for saying that, and me and other people too, that the Supreme Court has come forward with what we have said. You know what I mean? And thing.
Yeah, but it can't be no other way.
Exactly. Can't be no other way. It's mixed up things.
You're a girl that complains, say, she used to go, she changed her sex. Or him change him sex. And it my male in her passport. And when I go through the airport now, them cross it out. And say, how come him a walk with her? How come she walk with a male passport and she's female?
Exactly.
Like, how come she should have a female? She would want to have a female thing in her passport because him change. I can't say him change biologically.
To be in a woman. To be in a woman.
Yeah. And she complain and them I say, no, it can't work that way, the man. A male
which country that happened?
I don't remember which country she go through. She go through an airport. It's an airport she go through.
An airport she go through, yeah. So what happened is that the people at the airport are sticking with the fact of what she was born, of what he was born as a man.
Yeah, she was a man.
Yeah.
When she go through first time, she was a man before she changed.
Yeah.
And now she changed, she want them change and agree with her. And they will have none of that. She's a male.
Yes. And I agree with that.
She's a male. I say she's a male.
Yeah, man.
He's a male.
Remind me of the Jacob Miller tune, mix up moods and attitude. Confused. Yeah, man. Madness.
So
and you know when we love what happening in Ghana, the current government there, them put a ban that no more foreigners can be participating in local gold trading in Ghana. And that is here mostly at the Chinese, because a lot of Chinese in Ghana for our gold, you know what I mean? So I'm glad about that, you know.
Oh, me know you mention, mention.
Mention what? Tell me, man. Who?
The man say you sip out there.
Oh, Max Romeo, you see how so much things and things. Max Romeo, the man from Senton, originally from Mountain View, when he moved from the... This is a man who for music me play all the while.
Yeah,
and
man.
when me used to buy one heap of pre-release, when him live at Greenwich Farm, me used to buy pre-release from him for shops in England and things. Me and Max used to move good, man. You know,
Europe for
War in Babylon, Meltaway and them tune there, you know.
You know, me and him tour Europe for 4 weeks, man. I say, it really was a sweet tour. No itch or nothing. Just a good show.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Max was always a cool brethren, you know. You know, as you say, he and him on tour. He and I were on tour in Serbia, you know, some years ago, where he was performing as an artist with him band, and I was playing as a DJ, you know, but a week-long festival in Serbia, you know what I mean? And thing, and it was good. But we used to move good otherwise, you know. As I say, I used to check him when he used to live, before he moved to Treadways in a Lindsay there, due to the political violence and them type of thing, you know. And great loss. And I want to tell you, you see that tune that brought him to popularity in the late 60s, Wet Dream, Bunny Lee production. That was recorded at Studio One, you know. Bunny Lee Yes, Wet Dream was recorded at Studio One.
You ever hear him twist on Wet Dream when they talk about?
Yes, man. But what happened, you know? He never did want to do Wet Dream, you know. He threatened Bunny Lee, threatened him. And because he used to be a salesman for Bunny Lee at the time. And Bunny Lee wanted Derek Morgan or Slim Smith and Roy Shirley to sing it. And none of them would sing it because them said them not sing them kind of tune there.
Yeah, but you were mentioned when a journalist asked him about the wet dream song. You ever hear him said tell the journalist?
No, what did he say? I know where him said differently, but what did he say to the journalist?
Him say, I am house a leak.
Okay.
And every time him house a leak and him asleep, it wet him up on him bed. That's why I call it wet dream.
I lie that too.
No, it's not lie. It's not a lie. Him just, him a try to ease out the pressure off him.
Diplomatic,
him a ease out the pressure off him.
Bonnie Lee himself tell me, my brother say, him said to Maxi, since Derek Morgan and Slim Smith and Rai Shirley, them would sing it. He say, hey, Maxi, you have to sing this tune, you know. You do have a job. So he was forced to sing it. And the engineer was Errol Thompson, where later was with Randis and Georgie. Because that's how Errol Thompson start. Yeah, man.
And it become the biggest hit in England.
Hear the joke, Muta. Bonnie Lee say, you see, after Wet Dream go in at the top echelons of the British chart, him said Derek Morgan, Rai Shirley and Slim Smith, them would have sing any tune him tell them to sing. Because when them see Wet Dream go, the money, you know. Bonnie Lee said, Derek Morgan and Slim Smith and Rai Shirley, them would have sing anything him say.
I'm biggest hit that. I'm biggest
hit, man. Biggest hit. No if I'm but about that. You know?
But Scratch come give him some big hit to still. Scratch come give him some big hit.
Yeah, man. But me I tell you, them tune the way the police, Scratch Perry, them tune them, man. Warren and Babylon, all of them tune them. Classic, man. Classic.
Them run the thing, them still a sing.
Yes, man. Great. And I hope that his family continue the court fight to get them royalties that him owed for so many years.
20 million or something like that. 20 million or 13 million.
Yeah, man.
Millions.
Because Max Roman is just a typical example of how these foreign companies in England and Britain rob Jamaican artists, musicians and producers. It's a fact. Rob. They make the most money out of Jamaican music. These foreign racists, exploiters, culture vulture them. Serious thing. You know what I mean? You know? Yeah, man. All right. So, blessed love and everything is everything. And we have more things to say. You know, see the Sudan, like it go fragments further again. Because the Janjaweed racists, them say, them are go them declare, not go, them own government in a Darfur, where them was murdering our African people. Because the racist Arab Muslim Janjaweed, the militia, are racist them who have been murdering our African people in the Sudan. And we have to do things, Muta, to keep that pressure on, to stop that genocide of our people. And we have to get rid of that puppet boy in the Congo there. We want to give away our minerals in the Congo to the USA to fight for him rather than to mobilize the people against M23 from Rwanda.
Brother, in Rwanda, I get no backing from Europe.
Yes, Paul Kagame. Because man, he is an agent for the British and thing, man, and French from long time. He's an agent. And also for the USA to CIA agent, Paul Kagame. You know, that's why the British government they would have sent asylum seekers to Rwanda.
Him say would accept them.
Yes, exactly.
Can I get money for that too?
He might get money. Yeah, he is a traitor, he is an agent, just like the boy there in Congo, the big fat boy there, Felix. Them forget rid of him. Yeah. You know, after what them do to Lumumba and thing, want to sell out with people. If you get rid of a coup like that, man, you know? Yeah. But you know, see how Trump had threatened Harvard University.
Them take all the money. Them stop it.
Yes. Because he wants to dictate.
No, it's not a threat again, you know. It's not the court rule for him, you know. It's not a threat again.
Yes, rule for it. No, because you see, it's government, he had money and that type of thing. So he made that ruling. So he used the executive power orders to do them thing there. You know what I mean? That is what Trump is doing. And you know, notice how him threatening Iran that they must stop them nuclear program. That is what Trump has done now, you know. Say that they must stop. And the Iranians said none of that. Who is the USA if we tell other countries them not to have nuclear weapons? But they must have. Because they want to continue to terrorize people. And I'm glad how people getting rid of the dollar. Because they used to use the dollar as reserve currency to terrorize the rest of the world.
The Chinese them are wall out on him, you know. Him jump the tariff and them jump back the tariff and him jump the tariff and him
Exactly. Tariff. Serve him right.
Them old boy, you know, they play them to say, what you know, you can't make nobody come. No, your brother say, him say China did it for 5,000 years without any help from anybody. So them can't go on next 5,000 years. So them not mind what him I say.
Exactly. Trump is a cool with a dumb man and him a continue with him racist deportation thing against African people. Because him don't want people who are Africans and who are not Europeans to be in the USA. That is where him is just like Adolf Hitler. Donald Trump is a racist. You know? A straight racist. And we're not having that. And we have to fight to defeat his racist measures.
Well,
and those who support him.
I say, let the people them rise up against him, you know.
Yes, man. But the people don't have no choice other than to rise up against racist Donald Trump, man. Look how him all send that person to San Salvador. Like we not talk about earlier and that type of thing. You know? He's a racist. He only want Europeans in the USA. You know what I mean?
Not gonna happen.
No, yes, no way.
Not gonna happen. And we're gonna move.
Yeah.
All right, blessed.